So in yesterday's class, we have seen the basic part. Basic part is nothing but how to open a Visual Studio and how to create a project. Okay, how to create a project, and inside the project, how to create a package. Okay, in the package, what I did, I loaded the data from one server to the other server. That's what I did in the data flow task. It's in just overview. Now I'll explain you the what are meant by this all. Okay, you got a couple of tabs on the top, right? And then you'll have a couple of tabs on the left side. Then what is meant by connection manager, what is meant by this output window, and what is meant by this Visual, okay, package and other stuff. Okay, now, and guys, one other thing you have to observe. When I install the Visual Studio, it will ask me which type of backend template I want. I want dark, so that's the reason I have selected dark. In some cases, you might see only the blue one. Yep, I don't, yeah, this is the one where you'll have the blue one. I guess, let's see that. I think I'm not, yeah. So generally it will be this way, okay? But since I have selected the, like, it will ask you multiple background colors. So for this I have selected, for 2013 I have selected this, but for 2015 I have selected the other one. Okay, 2016 I have selected the other one. In the 2016, you had many features here. You can connect that directly, whatever stuff you want, you can directly connect that one here. Okay, you'll have all the SQL database to here. See, when I open, I'll get all the databases on the my database. See, you have all the databases. I can open the temp DB here. I can open the tables. Then I can see all the system tables, file tables, external tables. Then if I open the SQL class, then I can see all the stuff here. Okay. So these are my tables. If I expand this table, then I'll get everything. If I double click on the table, see in the left side, this is to the SQL server. See, automatically on the this is my design. Then automatically T-SQL window has opened here. See. Okay, so it is giving the structure. That's it. Like whatever the structure we got for this, it is giving, see, it is giving all the create structure for that. Okay, you can change the structure and everything. Now we will go with the original one. Now here, see, this is for the SSIS package, right? Since my SSIS packages are located under the document, there is a folder called project and MSBI class. That's where my projects are located. So I opened it. Now you see, you can see on the top, you got the control flow tab, you got the data flow tab, you have the parameters, you have event handlers, you have the package explorer. What is meant by control flow? Okay. So when actually there should be some task. Yesterday we dragged this from left side, we dragged some task and we dropped it here, right? Currently I don't see them. How to see that? Click on the SSIS, you'll have the toolbox. Click on the toolbox, you'll be seeing it here. Okay. And then you'll have one button here, ping button, okay, where you can auto hide. When I click it, it will be hidden. That will be there on the side. When I expand it, then again it will open. When I click it, again it will close. Okay. When I click it, it will expand. It will open. Now if I click again, that will be fixed here. So it will not be closed. Okay, it will be fixed. So you can play around with this. And one more thing, if I want to move this SSIS toolbox to a different location, what I will do generally, I'll cast this, drag. Now you can see a balloon screen has appeared here. Okay, this is the screen which I have. So wherever I want, I can keep my mouse on that, automatically that area will be highlighted. Here I want to keep on the leftmost side. I'll keep on the left side. So automatically I got it here. Okay. Now see, there's output. I don't want this output column. I will close it. And this in the control flow, you have all these tasks. Okay, you have all these tasks. Yeah, you can see some favorite previous versions. You have got the tasks like listed, but here favorites means most commonly used SQL Server tasks. Like you will call it as a control flow. SQL Server control flow items. These are the most used ones in the SSIS packages. Whenever you do, you always in my scenario I always use the data flow and execute SQL task. Next common means that you might use or you might not use. Very rarely you might use them. Okay, and in the 2016 you also got the Hadoop one where you can join the Hadoop. We are going to discuss later. Okay, this is where you can join with the, you can relate this with the big data too. Next you can script your work, and I'll go one by one task later on. Okay, these are the tasks. By using this, you can perform some additional operations. Let's go with execute SQL task. On the SQL server, if you want to execute any procedure, then you will use the execute SQL task. If you want to move the data from one location, if you want to move the file, from one location to other location, then you will use the file system task. If the file is located on FTP, then you will use the FTP task. If you want to send an email, if anything happens to the package or the package gets failed, if you in that scenario, if you want to send an email, then you will use a send mail task. If there is some other task which you don't have anything here, then you can build your custom build task by using the script task. You can write your own C# code or .NET script, anything, and then you can build your own custom build task. Okay. So if you want to do any bulk insert from file, then you can use a bulk insert task. Okay. If you want to run a package inside a package, then you can use execute package task. So these are related to only the high level. Like apart from the data flow, if you want to do any task apart from that loading the data, like sending an email or moving a file from one place to other place, or executing some stored procedures, or building your custom process, then you have to, all the tasks are present in the control flow itself. You should always use the control flow stuff. Okay. Now here, next you got the data flow. What is meant by data flow? What is meant by SSIS? SSIS is a SQL Server Integration Services. In the SSIS, it is you can move the data from one place to other place. That process is nothing but the extract, transform, load process. In order to do the extract, transform, load, you need a source for extracting. Then for loading, you need a destination. Then for transforming, you need some additional stops, right? Additional tasks, right? So that all are there here. Okay. For anything regarding the data connecting to data moving from one server to other server, or one source to other destination, you can do it in the data flow task itself. Okay. How I get the data flow task? Let's assume I don't have anything here. Okay. I don't have any data flow task. Generally, by default, you will not have anything. If I click, I'll not be having any data flow task here. Okay. I'll click a control flow. Then I'll go to the favorites. I'll add two data tasks here. See, data flow task and data flow task. Okay. When I click on this, then see, I'll be moving to this window, data flow automatically. Okay. When I click on this, then I'll be moving to the data flow only. See, and you can see here, it is a data flow task. What are the tasks I got in the control flow, right? Control flow, I got, I'll name it as DFT1. Okay, DFT1 and 2. Now when I go to the data, when I go to the data flow task, now it will ask me which one is that. So DFT1, if I select DFT1, whatever code I have written, I will be getting that. If I select DFT2, whatever code I have written, I will be getting that. Okay, that is the data flow task. And you can only have the data flow task when you have the data flow in the control flow. When you have the data flow task in the control flow, then only you will be able to do the data flow. If you don't have anything, you can't do anything. Now I click the data flow here. Now, why we use the data flow? We use the data flow for loading the data from one source to other destination, and we can do the transformations. When I click the data flow, when I went to the data flow, you can see the toolbar got changed. In the previous one, under the control flow, under favorites, you got the data flow and execute SQL task, right? When I go to the data flow, I'll see different names: destination assistance and source assistance. And then you can see other sources, other transforms, other sources, other destination. Okay, what is this destination assistance means and source assistance means? You don't know which one to connect, then it will guide you to the process. Let's assume, so generally for SQL Server, you should always use the OLEDB source, OLEDB. Okay, for SQL Server, you should always use the OLEDB source. And then for Oracle, you can use the ODBC, or you can use the Oracle Activity Driver too. Okay, and for flat file, you will use the flat file source, and for Excel, you will use the Excel source. Okay, for XML also, you can use the XML source. OLEDB is the most common one that you will be using a lot. OLEDB means in order to connect to the SQL Server, you will use the OLEDB source. Now when I click on, so we'll go one by one. I'll click source, I can say OLEDB source. This is when I click it, automatically it will, when I click on this, it will ask me the source. When I click, I'll give the server name and properties, then I'll be able to connect it. Okay. If you click if you want to use some Oracle, it's question marks means it is wrong. Okay, there is an issue with that. That's the reason you'll have the red mark here. Okay. If I want to connect the Oracle, you can create the ODBC connection and then you can use that, or else you can use the .NET ODBC and you can use that ODBC connection in the .NET source. Okay. When I click new, now it will ask me. I'll click new. It will be somewhere located in my system. Okay. When I add that ODBC connection, I will be able to see it here. That's where I can connect it to. Even SQL Server also we can connect. Okay. It's for multi-purpose .NET connection, ADO.NET connection. And if you want to load it to any destination, then you'll have all the destinations under this. Okay. Let's assume you don't know which destination to use. That's where you have the source assistance and destination assistance. If I don't know, I know that it's from SQL Server, but I don't know which one to use. I'll take this, I'll drop the source assistant. Here it will ask you to which one you want. See, I want on the SQL Server, Excel, automatically it will show the different one. Flat file, Oracle. Let's assume I want to get from the flat file. What I'll select the flat file. Now you got here new. Click on this. Now it will ask me which file I want to get it from. Okay. If I want to get it from the SQL Server, I'll click on this. Then it will show already existing two connection managers. Right, is showing them. If I click new, automatically I'll get a window. I'll give the server name and I'll select it. Okay. This is for the SQL Server, like source assistant and destination assistant. Generally, if you don't know, then you'll go it here. Usually we know, right? So we'll go with the source. We'll select whichever source you want. OLDB source, assume. I'll click on the OLDB source. Which connection I want, I'll click a new. Let's assume I want to get data from Virat SQL Server 2016 SQL Server class. I'll select it. If it is not, then you'll create a new one. Okay. When I click here, now you can see there are multiple things here. You have the table, your view. You can also have the view name here. You can also have the table name or view from variables. You can get the SQL command. You can write your own command. Instead of getting from the table, you can write your own command. Select star from table 1, table A, inner join, table B. Something. If you want to get multiple tables, then you can write a query here, custom query. Now let's assume we'll go from the table and view. I'll expand it. Now what are the tables I got in that database? I can see it here. Customer. If I preview whatever the data I got there, I'll be getting that. Now when I click on the columns, what are the columns I got in the table? It will by default it will select all. Whichever I want, I can ignore it here. So it will only get that column. Okay. Let's assume I want to get email and sales rep ID. Okay. That is source. And I want to load it into a flat file. Assume I want to load it into a flat file. Drag and drop the flat file destination. So in order to run the flat file, because when you open the flat file, you'll always create some stuff, right? In the flat file means it is a text file. Okay. How you load the data text file? You load the data of the source into the destination. So for that purpose, you need to relate them. How to relate? You'll connect and drag and drop on the flat file. So automatically a line is being drawn. Means nothing but the data from this source is being loaded into this destination. In the destination, you can open the flat file destination and create your own flat file. Wherever you want, you can create it. Okay, we'll see a delimited and that all later once we go there. Now I'll browse it here. So which file I want? Let's assume I want to create a file. I want to load it into some file. Here I'll give the file name, and then I'll click OK, and then I'll do that in the mapping. It will ask me source and target columns. I'll do that. So automatically it will be done. Okay. This is for the data flow task. And if you want to convert the data, let's say from the source you are getting some bad data, you want to convert the data into varchar, or you want to create your own calculated columns from the source data, then that all you got under the common and other transformations. Okay. You can also do the aggregate function sum, okay, max, min, that all you can do by using this function. You can also join by using merge join. Okay, if you want to do union all, yes, you have the union all concept too here. Okay, if you want to sort the data, if you want to order by, then you will have the order by. If you want to count the number of records, then you have the count number of records. If you want to have the like split the same data to multiple destinations, then you can have that. Okay, that all we are going to discuss. Apart from this, the other transformations very rarely you'll be using it. Okay. Now that is for the data flow. What is the parameters? In the SQL Server, we got the variables, right? For time being, assume that the parameters are kind of the same. If you want to store some value and if you want to use that value in some other purpose, then you can use the parameters. Next, then you can create the parameters and then you can do that. Okay. Next is event handlers. Event handlers means like triggers. In the database side, we have a trigger, right? Trigger, what the trigger does? If you create trigger for insert, then whenever the insert operations occurs on a table, the code in the trigger will fire. The same way, these are the events. If there is any error, if you want to perform some operation, then you'll have the error selected and then you'll write a code here. You'll write your own code. Then whenever there is an error on the server, then automatically that code will execute. Everyone is clear with that, guys?
Yes.
Hello? Can you hear me? Okay. Now, this is event handlers. Event handlers, you can create events for error, for information, for post execute, for pre-validate, for in progress. Okay, on error, that all you can create. And there also, you can create this event handler at the package level, or you can create at the individual task. See, when I click executor, when I expand the executables, I got the DFT1 and DFT2, right, which is there in the control flow. I can select only that, and I can give, if that fails, what needs to be done, then I can set it here. Or I can give throughout the package too. By selecting at the package, I can give at the package level too. Okay, this is for the event handlers. Assume that it's a kind of a triggers. We are going to learn each and everything. Next, package explorer. What the package explorer does is, whatever stuff you create here, that all you can browse it here. Since executables, I got the DFT, right? So I can see it here. I don't have any variables, so you'll not be seeing. These are the system. There is no user variable, so you can't see any variables. You don't have any event handlers, so that's the reason you can't see it here. Now assume that we will create one event handlers here. Favorites. I'll drag and drop on data flow task. Click to create. Now drag and drop the data flow task. Okay. Now if I go to the package explorer, see. Now I can open the event handler, then I can see what I got there. On error, I'm having an executable called DFT, data flow task. That's what I have. So you can see you can browse whatever stuff you have in the package. You can browse by using the package explorer. So control flow is the one where, apart from the data flow, data load process, if you want to do any miscellaneous kind like sending an email or move the files, running some SQL Server procedures, then you can write everything in the control flow task. Data flow. This is related to if you want to load any data from one place to other place, and if you want to transform, then you use the data flow. Parameters. Like in the T-SQL, you have the variables, right? The same way you got the parameters here too. You have the variables too. Variables means if I click control flow, if I click on the inside the package, and I can see the variables. When I'll get a new window here. Here I can create the variables. But that variables are only here. But you can create a variable, that is the kind of that same. Parameters or variables are both follow the same concept. But if you create at the project level, at the project, this is at the parameters. Okay? And event handlers is nothing but if you want to perform some operations for certain events, then you'll have the event handlers. Like if there is any failure in the package, then you want to send an email. Then you'll have the failure here. You'll have the task selected, which one you want to execute your code, and then later on, whatever the code you want to execute, then you'll drag and drop it here. Okay, and one more thing you have to see, in the event handlers, whatever the tool items I got, the same items you'll be getting in the data flow, in the control flow too. So what are the tools you can see in the control flow? The same toolbox you can see for the event handlers too. But when I go to the data flow, it will change. Okay, parameters also it will change. So event handlers. And the package explorer. Package explorer is nothing, it will show all the stuff that you have created in the package. So you can see everything that are there on this particular server. Okay, this way they can do they can go through the package and see what I have here. Okay. So yeah, this is regarding the basic introduction for the SSIS. Guys, are you good with this?